It's Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network, out with the news that the Senate wants to know how Facebook is picking its trending topics after allegations of an employee that says it leaves out news of a conservative nature. What do you make of this?
Well, I think that the fish rots from the head, and I think that you need to cut off the head. Facebook is that head. We should cut it off.
Now, Facebook says it's open to all viewpoints. What do you make of this?
I think Facebook, like all media, is just another puppet of Captain Hammer and all of the people that are trying to just rule this world, and I'm the one that should be ruling this world.
Now, the Senate wants to know who is blocking conservative news and what is Facebook doing about it?
Facebook doesn't know what they're doing. They need to work with a freeze ray that stops time. Tell your friends you can stop time and get rid of all of those liberal media or conservative media, all media. It doesn't work.
All media? Oh, no.
Well, except for you. You're fine. You're fine. You're the good media. The rest of the media, no.
Do you think Facebook is part of the liberal media by blocking conservative news?
I think Facebook is doing that, and I think that you should think for yourselves, people. The status is not quo, and everything needs to change. The world needs to change, and I need to rule it.
So in closing, this is Clark Kent. Oh, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
Freeze ray stops time. Tell your friends.
So in closing, this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network saying, live long and prosper. This is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network, out with the news that the Senate wants to know how Facebook picks its trending topics after allegations of an employee that says it's leaving out news of a conservative nature. What do you make of this?
I find it very interesting that you can, well, the whole thing about Facebook is partially owned by a Russian billionaire plutocrat. I mean, let's face it, Facebook is out there to mine data about you. It's part of the big conspiracy. So why shouldn't they be manipulating things? They're going to, everything else is manipulated, so why not Facebook?
Okay, now Facebook says it's open to all viewpoints. Do you believe that?
Well, of course not, because they're going, if somebody preaches virulent, destructive hatred that, wants to incite people to go out and kill other people, well, you'd kind of want them to pull the plug on that. So you'd like to see that there is some balance, but there's that whole thing about yelling fire in a theater where you have to show some restraint because, you don't want them showing pictures of outright obscenity like, butchered bodies and other things. So there has to be some controls, and occasionally the controls can go too far in any direction.
Now, the Senate wants to know who is blocking conservative news and what is Facebook doing about it?
Well, I would think that the Senate could probably do some other things with its time, but we haven't seen too much actual evidence of intelligence on either side of the aisle in the Senate lately, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that.
Okay. Now, do you think Facebook is part of the liberal media and blocking conservative news?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I suspect that they're somewhat liberal. I tend to be a little bit on the libertarian side myself, in case you haven't noticed. So I can probably live with it. If I don't like what Facebook is doing, I don't have to look at it 37 times a day, so.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
Oh, go on. Post more naked pictures.
So in closing, this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network saying, live long and prosper. Okay, this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network, out with the news that the Senate wants to know how Facebook is picking its trending topics after allegations of an employee that says it leaves out news of a conservative nature. What do you think of this?
I think it's completely the opposite. It's not that the conservative news is being left out, it's the actual news that we need to listen to that's being left out.
Now, Facebook says it supports all viewpoints. Do you believe that?
Oh, definitely not. Facebook is definitely leaning towards what the government wants us to be hearing. What all these powers that keeping their grip as tight as they possibly can on the people all across the universe.
Now, the Senate wants to know who is blocking conservative news and what Facebook is doing about it.
Well, nobody's blocking the conservative news. Facebook is blocking the liberal news because the government is telling them to.
Now, do you think Facebook is part of the liberal media and blocking conservative news?
Facebook is as far from a brown coat that you can get.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
Feel the burn.
Feel the burn. So this is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network signing out. This is Clark Kent from the Predatory Lending Network out with the news that the Senate wants to know how Facebook picks its trending topics after allegations of an employee that says it is leaving out news of a conservative nature. What do you think of this?
I am not surprised at all.
Facebook says it's open to all viewpoints. What do you make of that?
I'm sure that's what they say.
The Senate wants to know who is blocking conservative news and what is Facebook doing about it. What do you make of this?
Apparently, it's some employees that are, reviewing these various trending topics and deciding which ones to go in and which ones not to go in, and they're favoring the more liberal ones over the more conservative ones. That's what our SHIELD investigation has revealed. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Can we delete that? I didn't.
Okay, what question was that? What question was that?
You didn't hear it. You didn't hear it from me.
Okay,
we deleted it already. Yeah, I wasn't.
Okay. Facebook says it's open to all viewpoints. What do you think of that?
Yes, that's a very honorable thing for them to say. That's what I think about that.
Now, the Senate wants to know who is blocking conservative news and what is Facebook doing about it.
Yes, the Senate always likes to hold hearings on things to try to find out, but do they do anything about it afterwards? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what Facebook has to say.
Now, do you think Facebook is part of the liberal media and blocking conservative news?
Well, apparently whoever's doing this is using Facebook to block conservative news, and they're probably part of the big conglomerate. Our investigation as part of SHIELD has revealed. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say anything about that. Never mind, just delete that. Yeah.
Okay, so in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
Yes. Hail Hydra and live long and prosper.
So this is Clark Kent saying, live long and prosper.